Hey everybody, what is going on? Welcome to another episode of The Copy Corner with your favorite writers here. It's me, Terry Schilling.
And me, Dan Marzullo.
Yes, sir. And we are back with another fun episode for you all today. And it really has been inspired by a writer who saw our last video when we talked about how to sell your services right now during this difficult economic crisis. And we want to talk about this writer asked us how to convince my ideal client to work with me. And so that's what we want to talk about today. Give some tips and tricks on how to persuade a customer, a new client, to work with you. But Dan, I'll let you start off because we got a little bit of an interesting response to this for ourselves.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, Terry. My whole thing with this one is I think that's kind of the wrong question, right? We shouldn't be trying to convince the client. When I think of it is we need to position ourselves as the authority and the only and best option right off the bat, right? So, for me, doing that comes down to really having a killer portfolio and a digital footprint so that when this potential client is, reviewing through other freelance candidates, you stand out as that authority and the only option. So just kind of some background back when it was me before I had my team and I was pitching a lot of freelance gigs solo, I would look at other freelance writers and copywriters and look at their portfolios. And a lot of times they just didn't put a lot of effort into it. You go to their website and that's really your first chance to grab them and make a good impression and seal the deal. So I felt like if I could at least outshine them in that way, you can win them, and then you just have to get them on the call and close them. So for me, it's, position yourself as, wow, if I'm the client, I'm going to see your portfolio and your work online and go, wow, I got to work with this guy. Like he's blowing it out of the water. So that's kind of my thought, Terry. But where would you go with this one?
Dan, I love that. It's almost like, hey, it's like, I don't have to convince you. You convince me that we're right to work for each other in a way.
Right.
But I love that. And it's really about building that brand and authority, and it goes into why it's so important to have that website and that portfolio of some kind, and also to create content to be top of mind. So when they think of a copywriter or content writer, they're going to think of you because they've seen your YouTube videos or video series that you do with a friend called The Copy Corner. Stuff like that is important and it's super helpful. But for me, you touched on it, Dan, about convince. It kind of has a negative tone to me. And, we talked about this a little bit before we jumped on, and it's more about influence versus convince. You want to inspire them and influence them to work with you, to challenge themselves differently, because it could be like, you don't need website copy. You need a money-making website that really speaks clearly of what you do to your right customers, right? If you can challenge them this new idea, it can really help them think like, yeah, every other writer that I talk to just kind of was really salesy, and this person is really telling me that, I need a website that is going to take all my ideas and speak clearly and engage with my ideal audience over and over and over again. Even something like that of how you message what you do is so powerful, and it can really separate yourself. And I love how you said to look at other competitors and kind of see what they're doing. We've talked on this a lot. This is one of my golden rules for how you can write what you do in your services, is to see what everybody else is doing in a sense and imitate but tailor it to what you do best. So that's my advice when it comes to convincing your clients. You just want to influence them to work with you, and inspire them and challenge them differently, or challenge them to think differently of their problem and how you can help solve it.
Right. Yeah, great advice, Terry, for sure.
Yeah, man, I'm so happy that that this writer reached out to this question. It's such a great topic, especially during a time like this. But again, keep creating, trust what you do, and even when you're on the when you're on the sales call, have your processes in place. Think about just what questions you want to ask, keep the conversation going, let them know what the next steps are going to be after you get off that call. I mean, do you have any other tips like that, when you start that onboarding process, if you will, Dan?
Yeah, well, and playing off that, I think on that call, and even kind of going back to the portfolio thing, show some personality, right? A lot of the portfolios that we see, there's no pictures of you as the solo contractor. There's just no way to find out more about you, and that's part of it too. Is personality wise, your writing, that's going to shine through, and working with the client, all that's important. So, find opportunities to show off that a little bit so that it's not just kind of this robotic, you know what I mean? That's kind of where
Yeah,
what I would say.
I love it. One more tip before we go here is when you see your ideal client, and let's say depending on what the project they need, think of your past work and send them direct links to different websites or even a video that you did. Because a video can let them see you, obviously, and let them kind of get your personality and get to know you better. And then ultimately, when you have that call, they're going to trust you because you're confident in what you do. So, yeah, that's what we got for you guys today. Thanks so much for listening. Dan, anything else?
That's it. Go out there and land those gigs.
Yeah. Everybody stay safe. Love what you do. Proceed with passion. We'll see you on the next episode of The Copy Corner.